And we are live. Oh, hey, Wendy's a new member. Let me catch up real quick here. Wendy says, hello, lovelies. I can't stay, but I'm saying hi. Hey, Wendy. And Wendy has become a YouTube member. Thank you very much for that, Wendy. And Gwen says, hello. And Davi Paka says, hello, too. Nice to see you here. And Davi became a member last stream on Tuesday night. All right. Let's see. I need to... The yellow one is very sticky, but not very strong at holding. So I'm switching back to the blue tape. So let me make up some tags for that. Think my blue tape is wide enough? All right. And oops, move this back just a little bit so you guys will be able to see when there we go. When I tie off the knots, I've got 8 tama here, and if I use them all up, that means I'll have done as much as I did last night, or last stream, not last night. All right. I'm only on like day 4 or day 3 of the new ADHD med, so I'm still getting used to it. I think that's a bit too narrow that direction. So we'll just go the other way here. These will just be a little bit wide flags. Okay. Okay, so if I do it about that wide, then I can make nice narrow flags. Relatively narrow. So I'm kind of running out of things to talk about lately. So if somebody wants me to retell an older story, if you remember it, let me know. I'll be happy to do that. Let's see. There was something funny today that happened to me. Oh, yeah. The roommate who taught me how to do cloisonne enameling has some projects of her own that she's going to be trying to work on now that the weather's cooled down enough. The heat won't make her feel ill since she's going to be near a kiln working on it. So we're trying to get stuff together. There was a tray of stuff that was out in the garage that I needed to bring in for her. I went to pick it up, and yeah, these will be a little long. Shouldn't be a problem. So when I went to pick it up, the tray kind of tilted a little bit, and something fell off, and it wound up dropping directly into the quenching oil tank, which is not very large, I admit, but it did completely cover it. So after we got it out, I had to fill up a small bucket of water with a bunch of Dawn soap in it and toss it in there to let all of the oil detach from it. And it looks like it worked out okay. Alrighty, we are just about trimmed all the ones I need to trim. I'll be ready to start rolling up stuff in a second. All right. Let's see. Just me over on Rumble. And we have 4 people here, all on YouTube. All righty. Let's see. believe we start with white. It's much easier to start out with if the end is wet enough to stick together. All wraps around. Let's see if moving it caused it to have a problem, because I stored a different spot once I'm not streaming. All right, seems to have been worked okay. Didn't feel any snags on it. Let's get this knot tied off. All right, and 1 and 2 and 3. There we go. Let's just get this. Let's see. Looks like I forgot to take the lark's head knot out of this one too. All right, there we go. And I finished the new Clarie Cassan book, Academy of Outcasts. I really enjoy it quite a bit. Unlike a lot of progression fantasy and isekai stuff, the main character did not get super overpowered at the end of the first book. They're somewhat on their path, but they are definitely not the super mega we can do anything we want type guy. So, and I absolutely love the character of Trax Blood Trail. Whoops, forgot to grab the scissors for over there. Trax Blood Trail is a swallow. In this story, you got most of the fantasy races. You got humans, you got elves, you got dwarves, goblins, and the like. There we go. But a swallow is basically a shark person. And I think I mentioned last time, the premise is you have different elemental planes that all produce their elemental type of magical energy. Our main character starts out on the plane of fire. Let's see. The Squallow are from the elemental plane of water. They don't speak, but they have kind of like a telepathic language where most people can't understand them, but our main character can. But his actual full name is something like Trax Blood Trail. Through any difficulty, no matter how deep or crushing the pressure or cold the water, something like that. So the main character, oops. Yeah, I did go through that. Okay. Not one. But Trax Blood Trail is very forward and not really clued into other humanoid races' cultural contexts. So there's a lot of miscommunication. Trax is fairly frightening to most people, but he's a monk, as in the spiritual martial type monk, like in D&D. And he is trying to study the surface people and figure out what their cultures are like. And he runs into our main character. And since our main character is the only person who pretty much understands him, he offers to help Trax by working as an interpreter. And they develop a pretty good friendship. But Trax says things like, when the main character finds somebody that he is attractive and he's somewhat interested in, Trax offers to impress females, you should kill something for them. Females like whale. You should kill a whale and present it to her. But that's the kind of way that Trax deals with the world. But yeah, I found it quite fun and amusing. All right, so we go over. Yep. All right, so this one goes up here and over 1, under 2, over 3, under 4, and over 5. Let's see. Does that look correct? Yes, that does. But yeah, I highly recommend Academy of Outcasts, and the narrator they've got for the audiobook is pretty good and does the voices fairly well. And Gwen says, my daughter's at her D&D club tonight on campus. Okay. Well, there is a lot of the fantasy races. It's not D&D per se. So, I mean, the rules don't follow the way you would exactly do it in D&D. But it's still, in my opinion, a pretty decent story and world. All right. Next. Let's see. I did have a chance to exchange messages with Andrea. She had an appointment last stream and will be busy tonight, so she won't be able to make tonight, but she is looking forward to being on stream, so hopefully we might get her this weekend or sometime next week. She's interested in seeing how the setup goes, so definitely try and get her on a setup stream. I can talk better on a stream when I'm not counting as much. I'm a little better at holding up my end of the conversation. And I'm about 2 weeks out from hopefully getting a diagnosis for my weakness. If not, then I'll be set up to get a lumbar puncture, which will be the 100% yes, it's either this or it's not this. We can tell with this test. So, and one more for 3. There we go. And set the length. Back here. So I've got a little bit of unevenness, but doesn't look too bad. Got our midway flat on. So there. I did actually was able to post the stream notice in all of my usual places. So I posted it to locals, 3 different Facebook groups, the Reddit Kumihimo group. So hopefully we might get a few more people in here. I'm going to try and get my numbers back up. I still need to get Mrs. Torrens' Taka-Dai finished. I might be able to get some time in on it this weekend. I only have a little bit of constable work scheduled to do, unless they have a bunch for me when I get to the court tomorrow. So I'm thinking I might do a Saturday stream. It just depends on how things are looking for tomorrow as to how much I get done. I don't want to take too long on the setup on this. All right, let's roll this up. And make sure we got nice even tension. Looks like we do. All right. And yeah, rolling this up here. So oops, don't want to cut on my watch. So we are over on the first one, and then under, over, under, over. I think my recitation of that was off, but I think I'm good for. Yep, I think that's correct. Even this up with the rest of them. I think we could start taking off the old ones. There we go. All right. Looking good. Let me catch up with chat here. And Gwen says, it's okay. I don't know anything about D&D. And Kathleen says, hey, boys and girls. Hey, Kathleen. I finished up Academy of Outcasts yesterday. Gwen says, hey to Kathleen. Gwen says, please hit the like button, folks. Thank you for the reminder, Gwen. And Kathleen says, of course. Now, we are ready to go back to the white one. Right. And a couple times on the finger. Walk this back. And after the first try, it looks like they've all been going really smooth, no drag or resistance. So that's a plus. When I start with new spools, usually it takes like about 15 or 20 tama before they start behaving normally, or the way I would think is normal. Well, they're supposed to feed threads smoothly to you. All right. And let's get this to the right length. Oh, since I'm going to need to make up a few new tama, it looks like, marking the flag at the halfway point. I got some more leader cord. The stuff I'm using right now is 20-pound kite line, and I got some 50-pound kite line. So I'm hoping that'll be less slippery and more able to provide enough friction to not unroll on their own. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to have to switch to like 200-pound kite line. I just don't want to get the overly thick stuff so that I don't have enough room on the tama for the thread I want to use. Have it all taken up by the leader. And sorry, got to remember to tie the knot where you guys can see it. Otherwise, this gets somewhat boring. All right, and 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Let's roll this one up. Oops, that got a bit of the other tape on it. Not sure where that came from. And for those that didn't hear before, I'm shooting for about 40 inches of length on the braid here. And I was told it's okay to make it in a belt possible configuration. So, all right. That's why I'm using the double D rings, which make it using it as a belt much easier. All right. Roll this one up. And okay. So there we go. It's over the first, under the second, over the third, under the fourth, over the fifth, and under the sixth. Pull that up even with the rest of those. All right. And okay, that's why. Just noticing a mismatch. It's because I started the other ones off at a different point. Okay. All right, let me catch up with chat here. And Kathleen says, my copy is being delivered tomorrow. Congrats on that. Hope you enjoy it. I think you'll really like Track's Blood Trail. And Kathleen says, I just finished Not That Kind of a Good Guy classic, John Ringo novel, but I liked it. Okay. And Gwen says, it's always exciting to get a delivery. Kathleen says, sounds good. And Kathleen says, sounds very good. I won't spoil anything for it, but I really enjoyed it. I listened to it pretty much straight through. Get a little bit of caffeine here quick. All righty. Blue next. Times around the finger. And walk our way back. This one's got a little small loop for the leader. Shouldn't have a problem with it though. All right, got it through, no problem. And first knot. Second knot. And third knot. Getting that set back to its right length. Our way down. Get a flag for the halfway point. Flag is on. Work our way back. Right it there. And snip. And we remember to go through the D-ring. Otherwise, I have to undo stuff and try again. Just being a little careful. The ends look like they're a little bit uneven, but it was not quite as wet as I was expecting. So they slid a little bit relative to each other. Just clean off the end. Go. And Let's get this knot started. All right. And 1. And 2. And 3. There we go. Hang that over the side. And the other end. Probably should take a picture of how I hold the other tama in place when I'm pulling on it, so you folks can see what that's like. All right, and oops, got cut on the watch band again. All right. So we are over on the first, and under on the second, over on the third, under on the fourth, over on the fifth, and under on the sixth. Get it up past all the flags. And there we go. Let's take off the oldest one on each color. A little bit of yellow stuck to here. And I don't know how much of it you'll hear, but the nearby fire station, or firehouse or whatever, has turned on its volunteer alert horn. To call the firefighters. Basically sounds like an air raid siren. Right. And let's take this one off. See if we can get it off without leaving a bit on it. Yep, there we go. That's better. Catch up with the chat here. Kathleen says, how have you been doing, Torin? Reasonably well. They got me on a new ADHD med for about a week, or this is about 3 or 4 days now. Well, actually, I've been on it for about a month. They upped the dosage about 3 days ago. So far, it seems like it not only does not aggravate my weakness, but it seems to actually be helping with it, which is nice because the previous one I was using made it worse. They think they might know what I have, but I got at least one more test, maybe 2, before they can say for certain. But what they think I have is called CIDP, pure motor version. And CIDP stands for chronic inflammatory demyelinization polyneuropathy. And what it is, it's an autoimmune disorder where your immune system attacks the myelin sheath on nerves. And there are a couple of varieties of it. There's one where you just have all the weird neuropathy sensations, one where you have a mix of it, and the pure motor is where you get weak like I do. So I should have the next test done 2 weeks from tomorrow. And then once that's done, they can either start me on treatment or I got one more test to do after that. But it does have treatments that seem to be fairly effective. So I'm hopeful that in a few months I'll be back to normal. But I got my fingers crossed for that. And Kathleen says, yeah, my need for caffeine has been elevated lately. I'm at war with my boys. Sorry to hear that. And Gwen says, behind the scenes is always a good bonus. All right. And let's see what else. We are going on to white again. on the finger. Walk our way back. Take the bit of yellow tape off of my fingertip so it doesn't get snagged into one of these knots. And ready to tie knot 1. And 1 is tied. Doing the second knot. And there we go. It is now triple knot. And walk our way back. It's a very short flag, but I'll still use it. They don't have to last that long. There we go. Just walk back. There we go. And walk over to the other camera. Pass it through the D-ring. And so far I've done at least half of what I did last stream. And knot 1. I might have pulled 1 a little weird there. I don't think it'll be enough to cause a problem. And knot 2. And knot 3. Let's make sure we got even tension on it. Yeah, it looks like we do. Yeah, right. Set that one there for the moment. And roll this one up. Get the lark set on. And there we go there. And we're over number 1, so under 2, over 3, under 4, over 5, under 6, and over 7. Let's get above the flags here. There we go. A little bit more unroll. There we go. Starting to get that nice basket weave look. And let's see. Kathleen says that would scare the hell of me. I know too much about that stuff and would immediately think about the chances of MS setting in. So far, the EMG tests have been negative. I've got another EMG to do. So far, they are not talking MS or Lou Gehrig's disease, which would also have other symptoms. So hopefully not. Kathleen says, but I'm glad to hear they have better treatments and diagnosing more precisely. Yep, I'm hopeful that'll work out. If it is CIDP, there's between like a 20 and a 50% chance of full remission with treatment. And as my understanding, it's no symptoms and not needing treatment. So got my fingers crossed. All right, and blue is next. Two, three loops around the finger. Oops. Add one of the strings a little looser than the others. I'll just fix that when I walk back after I tie the knot. And first knot done. Second knot done. Third knot done. Reset the length to the marker here. The reason I need to reset the length is because I loosen up the leader thread on the tama, so it's easier to tie it off, and then I gotta roll it back up. So the tie off on the leader knot is right over the little piece of painter's tape I put on the floor to let me know how long I'm doing. All right. We'll flag at the halfway point and our way back. You can see where they got like different lengths on them. We'll just let them slide back through. There we go. That's pull it down past there so it's not above or they all join together, so it's easier to hang it loose. There we go. And in through the D-ring. Oh, Kathleen, I don't think you were on, but last Friday, I managed to get the cops called on me while I was working as a constable. Apparently, the person on whose door I was knocking decided they didn't want to answer it. They'd rather call the police instead. I mean, I was in full constable uniform. So, oops. Looks like I forgot to take the lark's head knot off of that one. Let me just do that now. There we go. And knot one. Knot two. Something. Okay, I got it pulled even. And knot three. There we go. Let's pull it even, make sure that I got good tension on it. Yep, it looks good. Let's roll this puppy up. And so I think what I might do is I'll see if I can work out a time with Andrea for this weekend to do the next setup stream. And I also might do a stream on the Fun channel working on, I think I still have that wood clock that I'm going to do next. That one shouldn't take that long. It might only be one stream. There's not a whole lot of pieces in it. But I got a 3D laser cut wood clock that's a dragon that I think would be nice to get done. Might hang it up in the garage. All right. So have it that way. And hangs down there. And we are over one. Puts us under two. Over three. And under four. over 5, under 6, and over 7. Get above all the flags. There we go. Pull this flag up to the right spot. All right, we are at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We got 28 tama on. We're actually over a quarter of the way done setting up. And let's see. Kathleen says, I hate that test. I've had about 3 of them. Actually, I've currently had 3 of them, and the next one is going to be both arm and leg at the same time. So, yeah, fun, kind of like the Spanish Inquisition was fun. And Kathleen says, excellent. I'm very glad to hear that. I believe that was as far as the chance, decent chance of full remission. Kathleen says, oh, fun. I'm assuming that was the cops being called on me. Kathleen says, sounds cool. And Gwen has a link to the gaming channel. There we go. Speaking of which, I should figure out how many people I got subscribed over there. I know I got a few people. All right, and back to white. I'm just throwing magnets around. Yep. 1, 2. Walk my way back. Oops. Single thread was stuck to my wet finger. Got to set up a new one here. Not too bad though. Got it done now. And not 1. Not 2. And not 3. I'll get this back to the right length. Oh, and I found out the other day that apparently the place I get my silk thread from is not shipping to the U.S. currently because of tariffs, as in they're not really sure how to set up for them. Hopefully they will get that resolved soon, because I'm thinking of ordering some more colors relatively soon. Great. And flag over the halfway point. That down a little bit. Actually, that way works. Magnet on. Snip, snip. And through the D-ring. Layer up on this tama. Make sure my hands are in camera frame. And the new ADHD med, first month seemed like it was having some effect, but not a whole lot of help with the executive function stuff. Like I said, I've only been at the higher dosage for about 3 days, but I seem to be doing a bit more work, so I'm hopeful that that'll follow through and pan out as being helpful for that. I lost my train of thought. Oops. What is that? Let's see, I might have a tension issue, or that just might have been how I rolled it up. Okay. All right, that's looking better. I did realize that part of my frustration about not being able to do things is there is a couple of games I do play that are essentially just about straight Skinner boxes. I like the storyline that they've got in the game, but it's a daily, you have to do stuff to keep yourself current with the plot, or you start falling behind. And they really, 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 really want you to spend money on the game. And I haven't been, but it's getting harder and harder to do the game without spending a real ton of time doing all the stuff you need to do to stay current with the developments they do for people that spend, hundreds of dollars a month on this stupid thing. So I've decided that, you know what? I am going to stop playing it. I have set myself a point in the game that I'm going to get to and consider myself to have accomplished what I wanted to in the game and not play it anymore, which should actually free up a fair amount of time for me. So over 1, under 2, over 3, under 4, over 5, under 6, over 7, and under 8. I just realized I forgot to tear off the tags after the last one. So let me make sure that that's where that's supposed to be. Yep, that's good. And like I said, it's essentially a never-ending game. So I have a completionist streak in things that I do. I like to finish them, but if there's no finish, and realizing there's no finish, I'm setting myself, a stopping point. Basically, they release new chapters in the game every so often, and you have to do a whole bunch of stuff to catch up to where you're at maxed out before the next chapter hits, or you start falling behind. And I'm just going to get to the point where I reach that maxed out point. I'm going to call it, I'm done with the game before the next chapter comes out. If the chapter comes out before I get maxed out, then I'm stopping that anyway, because I've reached the point that I can't keep up, no matter how much time I spend on it. And there's no point in even trying anymore, because I'm not going to spend my paycheck just to keep up with the stupid game. We're ready for the next. Oops, let me catch up with chat real quick so I don't get too far behind. And Kathleen says, I have never set up my Taka-Dai. Well, hope that you're able to get it set up and get a chance to try it. And Gwen says, boo, tariffs, boo. And Kathleen says, bummer. And Kathleen says, good for you. I'm assuming the bummer was the tariffs, and the good for you was the stop playing a game that's there to just try and drain my pocketbook. All right. And loops around. Walk my way back. And it's been less than an hour, but this one will bring me up to the point where I was on the last stream, where I spent like an hour and a half. So I'm doing pretty good. Of course, I still had to feed the threads through the warping frame before I got started on the last, before I got started setting up the tama on the last stream. That was about half an hour, so I'm probably going about the same speed. All right. Got our 3 knots on. Just the length here. Looking good. Walking our way back. And put the midway point flag on. Now we're putting a flag on, not having a flagging. Nice and wet for the knot time. Good. Pass through the D-ring. Starting to definitely look more like a braid, at least a pickup braid. And one. There we go. And two. Yeah. Right. Missed one. Let's pull back individually until we get the right one tensioned. All right. So not one of those. Not one of those. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not one of those. Ah, there we go. That was the one. All right. Now we are back up. A little loose there. Let's see if we can't get the tension back on this one. Ooh. Looks like I have a tension issue here. Okay, not on that end. All right. Let's walk this back here. Okay. Does not look like there is enough to really, I mean, it's not horrible. Once I get everything pulled straight, let's just roll this one up and we should be okay on the tension. One's a little bit longer than the rest, but not much. Yeah. Set that over there. And both ends have work heads. All right. Side there. And we are over 1 and under 2, over 3. Wait, am I? Let's see, over 1. Nope. Did not get that right. All right, so we are over 1, under 2, over 3, under 4, over 5, under 6, over 7, and under 8. Let's get above all the flags. Actually, I'm going to take 2 of these off. They're a little on the high side. That's all the yellow on the lower. Should also be all the yellow on the upper. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3 on the top. Let's go ahead and take that one off. And bring this one up to where it should be with the rest of them. 1, 2, 3, and take that one off. There we go. Phone's buzzing at me. Is it anything important? Nope. Just a YouTube notification for a channel that hasn't done anything for a while. All right. And Kathleen says, yep. Bunch of online vampires. Yep. Gwen says, yeah, some of those games make it impossible to do anything unless you spend real cash money. It's not quite there yet, but it's right on the borderline. And Kathleen says, I wouldn't mind an initial fee to start, but to continue to pay, no. And Gwen says, yep, I've quit games before because the more the fees as you go crap. And Zero Left-Handed. I think that's a new name on the chat. So welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And Zero Left-Handed says, do you have any videos of Mara-Dai with the material? I want to learn and know what I need. I have several Mara-Dai braiding streams. I have playlists where I've done whole braids from start to finish on the Mara-Dai. Let me see real quick. I think I can check this way. Content and playlist. There we go. Let's see. All right. So let's see. The ones that are Mara-Dai braids. I think Mitake Gumi 2 is a Mara-Dai braid. Hiratu Kasa braiding stream, it looks like it's also a Mara-Dai braid. Kinokuchi Gumi #1 is also a Mara-Dai braid. Seido braiding streams and Hanen Kumi braiding stream. And Kataman Kiko Gumi #1. Those are all Kataman Kumi. That's Kataman Kiko is Taka-Dai braid. So, but yeah, I have several, and Maru Genji is also a Mara-Dai braiding stream. But the playlist, they're all. If you go to my playlist, there are several, and they should say in the first description whether or not they're a Mara-Dai or Taka-Dai braid. So yeah, I have like about 5 or 6 Mara-Dai braids that I've done videos for. I don't know how many of them have actual setups in it, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer them. I should be doing another Mara-Dai braid fairly soon. It's been a while since I've done one. I really should do more of them. And Kathleen says Michael's videos would be good. And Kathleen says, I completely forgot his last name. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I'm blanking on him as well. So, all right. And, all right, so we're ready for white next. All right. Oh, also, if you search my channel for Mara-Dai, you should be able to find a bunch of streams that way. And Let's see. Degwu01, great to see this after so long. I saw your oldest video about Taka-Dai. I made my own Taka-Dai years ago and never learned how to use it until now. It's awesome to come back here and finally learn. Hey, thank you, Degwu. It's nice to have you on here. And yeah, that first one was, I think, 2011 or so that I did a Taka-Dai video. Kathleen says he's an excellent teacher for beginners. Thank you very much for that, Kathleen. I'm assuming you're talking about me and not Michael. If you're talking about Michael, yeah, he's also a good teacher. Actually, give me just a second here. Let me see if I can get the name real quick. Michael Hattori, that's who it is. And if you're on Facebook, let's see, let me turn down the brightness so you guys can see what it is. All right, so. But yeah, Michael is very good at Kumihimo. His stuff is excellent. He's a lot more experimental than I am. That's a very long picture. But yeah, he's excellent. He's very friendly. He's on Facebook. And Kathleen says, well, both of you. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right. And a couple loops around so it doesn't come loose. Work my way back to the other tama. And not one. Not two. And not three. There we go. Yeah. Let's get the length set properly on this one. Forgot to bring over some tama. Run it there. All right. Walking our way back. A little bit of pull on it just to keep the tension good. But oops, grab two flags there. Only need one. Mark the halfway point. And back here. Let's keep it a little bit wet so it's easier to tie them up. Threads is not wanting to play nice. There we go. And snip. And let's go ahead and pass it on through here. And leader so we can tie this one off. And one. Two. And three. There we go. Pull it snug so we can make sure tension is good. Looks like it is. Let's go ahead and roll this one up. Oops. The other end's not snug. just go ahead and set that one there. So we're in fixed. All right, that's good length. Let's go ahead and Lark's head this end. Okay. A little long, but not too bad on that end. All right. And we are over 1 and under 2, over 3, under 4, over 5, under 6, over 7, under 8, and over 9. Go. All right, 1, 2, 3, and we'll take this one off. Get all of that one, or did that leave a little res? Yep, that left a little piece stuck to it. There we go. All right, and Daegu01 taking notes. Hey, no worries on that. If you have any questions about anything specific, please let me know. I'll try to do my best to answer. Kathleen says, yeah, Facebook is where I got started. Michael was part of some excellent groups there. He was also on the original Kumi2 Yahoo group that I set up when the original braiding email list serve was run by, my impression is, a somewhat Karen-ish type person who insisted on no politics except the politics that she wanted to share. And I just wanted to talk about braiding, so I started up the other list, and pretty much everybody moved over to it within a year until like the Yahoo groups went away. Kathleen says, and Facebook is where I first met Torm. Yep. I try and be relatively active in Kumihimo related things and some other stuff. We also happen to be on some author fandoms together, which is why I was talking about the new book from Larry Korea that's just come out called Academy of Outcasts. If you like progression fantasy that's not isekai and is kind of like not D&D per se, but kind of D&D-ish, Academy of Outcasts is very good. I also really like Larry's writing style. Now I've had a chance to meet him in person, and he's just as nice in person as he is online. And admittedly, some people consider that as not nice because he doesn't suffer fools gladly. But if you're approach him like a normal person, he is extremely friendly. He likes his fans, and his fans like him. All right, so that was white I just did, so I need blue next. So, yep, blue next. Okay. So this is a 1-1 twill pattern, which gives you like the over and under basket weave look. And this is a double layer braid. And it's called a pickup braid because I pick up strands from the lower braid and swap them with matching strands from the upper braid at certain points to make a pattern. So you got the weave pattern, and then you have a color pattern. And the color pattern is pretty much anything you can do with the pixels you have. Each pixel is the kind of slightly diamond-shaped over point on the braid. And not one. So you can only do 2 colors, so to speak. So I've thought about doing one where one of the layers is like some type of tartan type thing. And the other one is a solid color, and see how well I can come up with a nice pattern with that. I just haven't gotten to that point yet. So the pickup is essentially you do top, you combine your top and your bottom layers. So if you have a different pattern for one of the things rather than a solid color, you'll have some potentially more variation. But I'm not sure how to do it where it'll look nice. I'm still thinking about it. There are a bunch of other patterns where even single or dual layer braids where you're not doing a drawn pattern that you are converting into your design. You're just doing an actual repeating pattern, and those are more common. If you've got the Makiko Tada's complete treatise on braiding books, 1 and 2 are Marodai books, 3, 4, and 5 are Taka-Dai books. 3 is single layer Taka-Dai braids. 4 is double layer Taka-Dai braids. And okay, messed up the tension real quick. Let me fix that. 4 is like standard pattern dual layer braids, and book 5 is pickup braids, like I'm doing for this one here. And if you go back, like the most recent Taka-Dai braid I did that I streamed was a 2-color leaf pattern, is what it looks like to me, kind of like laurel leaves, or since I did it for somebody named Megan Fox, you could say they were foxtails. Coloring matches some foxes. So, but that was like a regular pattern. It only had like 26 moves or something, 30 moves, and you just work your way through the cycle. This one here, you've got each row you have to kind of count on it where you're gonna swap in between, and a few other things like that. So it's a more complex braid to do continually. It's not like it's a pattern that's easy to memorize, because like for this particular one I'm going to be doing, it's got like 130 rows, and most of the rows are different. So I've got a chart that I follow. Whoops, I just realized that's way out of focus. Let me fix that. Sorry about that. There we go. Let's get a little bit of static here. I should spray down the rest of the cones a bit. I've mainly been spraying the ends just because it's easier to tie the knots when they're a bit wet. All right. And this one should be 34 tama on here. The pattern uses 100 tama, so I'm actually just over a third of the way through getting set up. All right. And actually, what I will do is I'm going to, at least temporarily, whoops, did I? No, I did not do the large head right there. Let me do this bit because it looks like I got a little bit of unevenness in the leader. Ah, there is a large head on the leader. That would have been fun. Got to it. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Okay. All right. That's better now. I will bring up the pattern for this braid that I'm going to be using, and you can kind of see what it is I'm talking about. The program I use for this is from a company called Artisan Art. Clarie Cassan, I've got links in the description. I don't know if she is got a way to purchase access to it. It used to be if you bought a book she did, you would get access to the pattern, but I'm sure there's some other way that you can make arrangements for that. Let's see, over 1, under 2, over 3, under 4, over 5, under 6, over 7, under 8, and over 9, Actually, we're at 36 now. Yep. Okay. Yep, we're at 36 now. So yeah, definitely over the 1/3 of the way mark. Bring that even. 1, 2, 3, and pull this one off. Yep, got it all off. And 1, 2, 3. So I took that one off. All right, let me go ahead and share screen. Oops, there we go, and share. All right, let's see. Okay, let me move this one up to the other screen so I can see what I'm doing here. All right, there we go. So let's see, I need to, there we go. Now you can see the whole thing. So these numbers here on the left are, let's see. Yeah, you can see how it, the left side is the top here, right side is the top here on each rail, and the path is how your hand goes through the shed. This is how it is when there's no changes, but as we work our way through, like that's where we start having color changes. So instead of going over these first 4, you're actually going under, and these ones here get swapped out so that you got blue on the top and on the bottom there. So, all right, let me catch up real quick here. See, Kathleen says, Kumihimo, as much of the mind as is of the hand. Kathleen also says it's a craft that requires thought. And hey, it's Dave, MLS Law, making law simple with a 1999 super chat. Ooh, thank you very much for that. It's been too long. Good to see you. Thank you very much for that. It also looks like I might get my medical issues taken care of soon, so I'm hoping to be much more active on YouTube. So it's good to see you too. And Gwen says, hey there, MLS. And Kathleen says, hi. And MLS says, hey, Gwen. So, all right. So I'm going to, let's see. But yeah, as we work our way through here, you can see that like a lot of these moves are different. There are some patches where it's just a simple over and under as you work your way through. And we're up to like 136 moves before the pattern repeats. And a lot of this requires counting. And there we go. And back to the beginning. All right, let me stop sharing that. And there we go. I hope you can hear me. I accidentally removed from the screen. Yeah, it looks like it's doing audio. All right. It's a little hard to do this sideways with the mouse. All right, so, and then we are ready for white again. Oh, Dave, I don't know if you heard, but a week ago, I managed to get the police called on me as I was trying to serve some civil process for my local court. Apparently, the person didn't like the fact that I knocked on the door and was waiting for a while because their dog kept running up to the door and then back again like somebody was in the house. And I figured I would wait for them in case they had some mobility issues. But apparently that freaked them out. And they called the police, who, when I was leaving the parking lot for where they were at, and the police were pulling in, they saw my car, they flashed their lights, and when the officer started to talk to me, he stopped for a second, looked at what I was wearing, and goes, oh, you're a constable. and everything made sense to them. So it was fairly simple after that. They didn't hold me up for more than a minute or two just to make sure they had my information. I gave them my current certification card so that they knew I was an active duty, in good standing. So no big deal, just really annoying. And now I've got another cute constable story to tell. All right, and back to the halfway point. Put a little flag on here. And walk it back. Make sure they're all pulled nice and even. Knocking things over again. Make sure I don't snag that thread too much. The finished production design on this warping stand is going to have better feet, so it's not quite so rock back and forthy. This is my initial prototype. Right. Work our way over here and pass it through. A little snug. Make sure our tension is good. It is. All right. Let's see. We're almost the hour-and-a-half mark. I think I can get through at least one more set of white and blue. We'll see where we are after that. And, oops, sorry. Was out of frame. Not 2. And not 3. There we go. And, oops, grab the wrong tama. And I'm throwing them on the floor again. You can't take me anywhere. This is why we can't have nice things. Alrighty. And, oops. There we go. Let's grab this one. Fell on the floor. Put that one back there. And let's get this one in Oryx head. And there we go for that. And over the first one, under the second, over the third one, under the fourth, over the fifth one, under the sixth, over the seventh one, under the eighth, over the ninth one, and under the 10th. Hold this one even with the other flags, and there we go. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, this is the new leader thread or leader line that I'm going to use. This is a 50-pound 50-pound or 10-pound, not sure, but it looks like it's a bit thicker than the other stuff I've been using, but not a whole lot. It says it's like 1 millimeter in diameter. Hopefully that'll work. And let's see, I have that up here. I thought I had the box up here that has the shells in it. Yep. I'm just pretty sure I had the box up here that had the unassembled tama shells. Been cleaning up here, so don't know where everything is, but I know where a lot more stuff is now. But I thought for sure I had that box up here. Oh well. All right, so it's blue next. All right. Loops around the finger, and we walk our way. And we are ready for knot one. Oh, I was thinking for Ian's fundraising stream. The last time, apparently, he got overloaded with stuff to have to ship out to other people, and it was getting really expensive and time consuming. So I'm thinking to see if he would like me to make something, but then ship it out directly from me to whoever wins the auction for it. We'll have to see how that goes, but that's something he's willing to do. But I got an idea. I've got some Maradai braid that I made some bracelets from before, and I have the magnetic end clasps for it. That I was thinking I'd make a few more of them and include them in for the auction. I'll have to see how it goes. It has the advantage of all I need to do is cut the braid to the appropriate length and put the end caps on, and it should work from there. Looks like got a little bit of evenness on that tension. Let's make sure we're go. And snip. Pull this even, make sure our tension is good, looks good. All right. And one. Two. And three. There we go. Looks good. And there we go. Now it's going to bug me until I can figure out where that box went. Ah, I think I found it. After I tie this one off, let me check and see if I've got where it is. Oh, Kath, I'll catch up with chats, but the fundraiser is for the Stollery Children's Hospital. Ian is one of their biggest fundraisers. He's actually going to be going to something in a meeting in Salt Lake for them to talk to him about how they can help him raise funds better for the hospital. All right, so over one, under two, over three, under four, over five, under six, over seven, under eight, over 9 and under 10, which means I have 40 tama on here now. So we are 40% of the way set up. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and take the flag off of this one. Do this without leaving any residue. Yep, there we go. And 1, 2, 3. And go for that. Now, let me catch up with chat real quick here. All right, and I think it was Gwen, good to see you. MLS, making loss simple. And Kathleen says, I thought we usually blamed that on cats or children not being able to find stuff, I take it. Kathleen says, by the way, how are the cats and your dear ladies doing? The cats are doing mostly well. They're getting a bit older. One of them might be starting to have kidney problems, but we're going to figure out how to give them, get the vet to show us how to give them subcutaneous fluids. And hopefully that will be able to keep him healthy and happy for a while longer. The roommate who taught me enameling is pretty much holding steady, and Mrs. Thornton is doing pretty good. So all in all, we're not doing too bad in the household here. And Gwen says, I'm trying to do too many things at once. I left the hot water running in the kitchen sink. Oops, I am sorry to hear that. Kathleen says, that sounds cool. Gwen says, I think Ian would be okay with that plan. He was talking about something like that for this year's auction. And Kathleen says, what's the fundraiser for? And I did mention it's the Stollery's Children's Hospital. And Mary Cormier, hey, good to see you on. Welcome, welcome. What's up? Sorry I'm late, trying to prepare a bachelorette party, but we keep changing plans. I am sorry that the plans keep changing. Hopefully it works out well for you. It's good to see you here. And Gwen says, hey, Maylee. And Kathleen says, hi, Maylee. And Maylee says, I wanted to make something for the fundraiser, but I won't have time, I think. And Maylee says, hey, Gwen and Kathleen. All right, so let me quickly see if I was right where I thought that box was. Yep, it was. All right, so these are the tama halves. Let me get them at the right height where they're in focus. They have a raised portion and a recessed portion for the connectors. So I only have the one, but when you take two of them, they fit together in an interlocking method. And normally what I do for a 100-gram tama is I have a 1.13 inch long piece of 3/4 inch round steel. That gives me almost exactly 100 grams. If I'm doing like 30 or 35 grams, I'll epoxy in a couple of pennies on each side. That gets it right there. These are about 23 grams together with there's nothing in them. And I just get them pushed together like that. It holds well enough that you can actually like that and it doesn't come apart. It's a nice snug fit. And a little bit of Weld-On, which is methylene chloride. And it allows the cross-leaking across the border barrier or the surface, and it becomes a solid piece. So this is what the tamas look like before they get assembled. So let's see. Switch to close-up focus for a second. All right, there we go. These are injection molded acrylic. I got the mold for very inexpensively. There we go. And I'm about to the point where I'm ready for another run. I usually have to do like 1,000 pieces per run for it to be semi-economical. And even then with the steel core, it's like $8 a piece for the tamas. And I really don't make a lot of money on that. I just want people to be able to, why is that not wanting to, there we go. I just want people to be able to do it. And I like these particular tama. They're fun to work with. And Kathleen says, very nice. And Gwen says, or Maylee says, that's cool. All right. We've been doing it for about an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm getting a little tired. And Kathleen says that I know that mine look totally seamless. Thank you very much. Yeah, basically it softens up the surface and allows the, I think it's polymer chains to cross-link across the surface. So it can actually become a solid piece. Sorry, I'm just getting really tired all of a sudden. So I think I'm probably going to call it a night. Let me see who's available for a redirect. Let me go to my live streams, current stream, edit it, go to customization, and add a redirect. Let's see who's available. Looks like Megan and Tug are live, or at least Tug is. Looks like Tug's stream. And that's currently the only one I see, the friends that is live. And so let me go ahead and add that. And we will save that redirect. There we go. And let me see. Whoops, missed this one. Gwen says those are cool. I still want some. I don't know what I'd use them for, though. They're useful weights for other things. Let's see. And okay, there we go. Read that one. And Millie says, thanks for the stream. You're welcome. It's good to have you on here. Kathleen says, one of my penitent sons brought me dinner, so I should eat. Hope that you have a wonderful dinner. And Kathleen says, catch you again soon. All right. So probably, Millie says, bon appetit. Probably a Saturday stream. It depends on what I can work out with Andrea. It'll be either Saturday or Sunday, and I'm going to also try and do a stream on the Fun channel to put together a laser cut wood puzzle clock that's supposed to look like a dragon. So I want to thank everybody again for being on here, and we will see you again soon. As always, everybody, stay safe and happy braiding.